Assalamu alaikum dear viewers, and welcome to Ion TV's new program Amra KOrbo Joy, যেখানে আমরা আমাদের youth and young professionals-দের success, achievements and talent celebrate করব। আজকে আমার সাথে আছে Orvi Chaudhary. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So Orvi, tell me a bit about yourself. What was your childhood or your school like in the UK? As I understand that you came here when you was very young.
So I'm 17 years old now. I go to college, well, a sixth form. I came to the UK from Bangladesh when I was about 4 years old. I don't remember too much from when I was that little, but I remember I went to nursery and I couldn't speak English.
What was your experience like? What was your struggle in speaking English, or how did you manage to cope in nursery?
So I remember I have this one memory that I kept tapping like teachers on the shoulder to get their attention, and the teachers hated it, like they found it so annoying. Okay. So I remember they always told me, like, asked me to stop, but I didn't really understand. I found it, even when I started learning English a bit more, I found it like a bit hard to understand sometimes. So if my teacher spoke fast or something, I need them to repeat it a lot. It just felt like I had bad hearing or something.
But obviously, like, you've progressed, and you know, that is a big achievement coming from Bangladesh when you was at such a young age and learning to speak English, you know, and progressing your studies here. So all your studies were done here. So after nursery, obviously you went to primary school. How did you feel? What was the experience? What was it? Did you feel like it was a big change?
I mean, primary school was a lot of fun still. Like, the early years are basically the same as nursery still. I remember around year 3, year 4, my parents started introducing me to secondary school content though. Like, they had a secondary school maths book, and I'd go through that. So I remember in year 3 I was learning about parabolas. I didn't really understand what it was, but I was starting to learn about it still.
Okay, so what did you enjoy learning?
I liked maths and I liked English. I liked maths because I was good at it then, and English
is a very hard subject. I mean, it's very unique to find someone who actually enjoys math. Usually people find it very difficult, but you're saying you find it really easy. Did you, obviously you enjoyed maths, but what was it that you enjoyed? Were there like a particular topic, like algorithms or Pythagoras theorems, or?
Well, so in primary school it was basically anything. I enjoyed anything in maths. In secondary, I was fine with maths. It wasn't really my favorite subject, but it was still alright. And then I remember right at the end of secondary I started really liking it again. And now in sixth form it's really interesting, like all the maths we're doing. So integration, differentiation, all these like complex topics. It's really interesting. So it's a bit more difficult now, but it's still really fun.
So I'm just coming back to your primary school. Obviously, then from primary school, you did the SATs. Did you have exams? How did you find that?
Well, I don't really think it was that stressful because it's still primary school. I can't really remember my results, but I think I did fine.
Okay. And which secondary school did you go to?
I went to East London Science School, so it's a school in Bromley-by-Bow.
Okay, so what is that school based on? Because every single secondary school has its speciality. So you're saying a science school, so is it purely based on science mostly, or what is the speciality of that school?
Well, so they had kind of a focus on science. Every student had to do triple science, so you couldn't just do single science or anything like that. So we all did individually physics, chemistry and biology.
Okay. And what other subject did you study towards your GCSEs?
So in my GCSEs, I did obviously maths, English, physics, chemistry, and biology. Then geography, German, further maths, Latin, Greek, and computer science.
Oh, okay. So that's very interesting. So you learned a few of the languages along with the compulsory subjects which you had. Which subject would you say that you enjoyed the most?
In secondary, I would say computer science or further maths.
Okay.
Because in computer science, it's a lot more problem solving, and then coding in general is quite fun.
So you like problem solving a lot.
Yeah.
Is there anything outside of secondary school that you would do related to like computer science or
Well,
creation in general? Because I can tell that you're obviously into like creating and problem solving, analytical skills. What was your interest outside of
okay, so starting from primary school even, I used to make stuff. If you guys know Scratch, it's like this coding thing with blocks. I used to make a lot of things there. When I was really little.
What is Scratch?
Scratch is like it's a simple coding like website basically. It's to introduce kids into programming and coding and stuff.
With this, is this something like you create a game, or is it just like a simple program that you would create?
Yeah, I made games on Scratch, but then in secondary school I tried to make not too much complex stuff, like no like visual games or anything, but I made a few simple projects using proper coding languages like Python and Java.
Oh, that's amazing. That's really amazing. That's brilliant. So which year, so coming back to your secondary school, we've discussed your nursery and your primary, and now we're in secondary school. What year would you say you found the most challenging, and why?
The most challenging. So obviously year 7 was a big shift from primary school into secondary school.
What was the, when you say big shift, what's the?
In secondary school you have to do like a lot more work actually. You get more homework and stuff. I feel like it actually got easier as you went through. Okay. I know year 11 was a little stressful because obviously we have our GCSEs coming, but overall it was quite a relaxed experience for me.
Okay, so as we have viewers watching us, and you said it was a big shift for you to go from primary school to secondary school. Is there anything that you would like to tell our viewers, people who are watching us, who are going to go from primary school to secondary school, what they can expect and how they can prepare for secondary school, because it is a big step? So is there anything that you would like to tell our viewers?
So I'd say this is more important from secondary to college, but time management, if you can get it down early, because I'm guilty of this. I'm not too good at time management myself.
This is from primary to secondary?
I'm saying, so you need time management skills in general, so you should develop them early. So from primary to secondary, from year 7, you should start planning out your time, start planning out when you're going to do things, not leave it till the last minute.
Okay. And what can they expect in secondary school?
A lot more work, but a lot of close friends as well, and a lot of fun times.
Was there a favorite teacher that you had in year 7?
Favorite teacher?
Or any of your years?
I'm not sure about one teacher, but I have like, all my teachers were really nice, and my school wasn't too big, my year group, so we all knew the teachers quite well. We all knew each other quite well.
Okay, that's interesting. And what was the most difficult subject you'll say that you've studied in secondary school? In
secondary school, probably further maths though.
Further maths. So not the sciences?
No, for me the sciences weren't too bad really. Physics I'm interested in as well, so it's not too hard to be good at that. But chemistry, biology, there was quite a lot of memorization, and I find learning things, like memorizing them, comes quite quickly to me.
So you said about memorization and learning things. How do you go about memorizing or studying for exams? Because if you could give our viewers an idea, maybe they can follow some tips and advice from you, like is there a timetable they need to set, or is there something that they should look into for further research if someone wants to prepare for exams? How would you say that they should study so they remember?
Okay, so the main thing is revision isn't mostly about memorization. That's what I feel like a lot of people go wrong with. For memorization, that's just a skill that you learn over time. I think for me it comes naturally because obviously my parents, they put me into mosque from an early age. Oh, okay. So from when I was really young, I've been used to memorizing a lot of things in mosque, learning surahs, reading the Quran.
Oh, amazing.
In terms of revision though, yeah, timetabling is really important. I know that if I were to make more timetables to manage my time better,
Okay.
it would have been a lot easier to revise for my exams.
Right.
But
I'm just going to stop. I've got a caller online. Hello.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
How are you all?
Good, thank you. How are you? Thank you for calling us.
খুব ভালো লাগছে অনুষ্ঠানটা দেখে, খুব সুন্দর একটা অনুষ্ঠান।
Thank you.
আমি অ্যাকচুয়ালি এরকম অনুষ্ঠান আগে কখনো চোখে পড়ে নাই, বেশ ভালো লাগছে ছুটির দিনে বসে দেখতে। আই হোপ সবাই বাংলাও বুঝতে পারে, বাংলাও বলতে পারে, আমরা এটাই আশা করব। আর সবার জন্য অনেক শুভকামনা। আমরা আরো ভালো ভালো কিছু শুনতে চাই, যারা আমাদের নেক্সট জেনারেশন আছে তাদেরকে এনকারেজ করার জন্য আরো কিছু তোমরা যদি এক্সপ্লেইন করো, আরো কিছু বলো, খুব ভালো হবে।
Thank you.
খুব ভালো করছো, বেস্ট উইশেস ফর অল অফ ইউ।
Thank you so much. Thank you for your call.
থ্যাংক ইউ, থ্যাংক ইউ,
Thank you so much. Thank you viewers. আমাদেরকে আল্লাহ হাফিজ. Thank you viewers. Dear viewer, আমাদেরকে কল করার জন্য, আমাদের বাচ্চাদেরকে এনকারেজ করার জন্য। Actually, it's very a proud moment যখন আমাদের বাচ্চারা আমাদের কমিউনিটিতে কোনো একটা ভালো কাজ করে বা ভালো কিছু অ্যাচিভ করে। So I would like to say thank you to all our youth and our professionals out there, for putting in such a hard work to make this happen. And for, of course, you are the generations for the future, for some bigger achievements and bigger events, bigger talents. So you are our future, and of course we will always encourage our children in the community to do well and to strive for the career. So I'm going to go back to Orvi now. So where were you explaining?
Yeah, so about revision, I think the main thing is practice questions. My college says this all the time. What you need to do is practice questions over and over again. As many questions as you can, as close to the test as possible. Not close as in time, as similar to the questions in your test as possible.
Okay. Orvi, there's one interesting thing that I would like to pick up. Actually, along with your studies, তোমার স্টাডির সাথেও তুমি বলেছো যে তুমি মস্কে গিয়েছো, তুমি নামাজ শিখেছো, studying the Quran as well. So this is something that you said your parents put you into from a very young age. So can you tell me a bit about your journey on this?
So I'd say, I'm not sure about the exact age, but maybe around from 6 years old maybe.
Okay.
I was put into a mosque, and there I learned to read Arabic. I started reading the Quran. I memorized a lot of surahs. I learned about
Mashallah.
prayer,
MashaAllah.
a lot about Islam in general. There was a little bit of a gap when I went into secondary, but then after that I went back to mosque. I went to a new mosque. There I learned more du'as, more hadiths. We learn about the rulings, so the fiqh, the akhlaq, yeah.
MashaAllah, that is so good. And I also think it's very important, along with the studies, to study Islam as well, because we are Muslims as well at the end of the day. And of course, we must know our religion, we must know the roots, and this is what we follow. At the end of the day, we are one ummah, we are Muslims. So I'm really happy that your parents put you into the mosque as well as your studies. It's a big thing. So you're studying the Quran as well, you said?
Yeah, so in my mosque we focus first on reading the Quran, going all the way through, getting fluent in reading Arabic, and then also memorizing as many surahs as you can, because especially when you're young, that's when you need to focus on memorizing surahs. When you're like 60, you don't want to be repeating the same 2 surahs every salah, you're going to wish you memorized it from early.
MashaAllah, that's so good. MashaAllah, that's really, really good. So Nasa, and also I wanted to ask, if I come back to your secondary school as well, so how was your preparations for GCSEs coming up to year 11? Was it more stressful? What were your challenges that you faced I understand that time it was the pandemic also, so if you can explain about the challenges that you faced.
So for us, since it was the pandemic, it was a little different to normal. We didn't have the official GCSE exams. What we had was 3 sets of mocks for each subject. So for each mock, I felt that way. It was a little less stressful actually, but it was a bit more chaotic because we didn't really know how the grading was going to work and everything.
Because it's a whole new system that's
Yeah,
just been put
exactly.
into place.
So I just made sure I was as prepared as I could be for each exam. Just revised, made sure I got enough sleep and everything.
So when the pandemic came in, were there a lot of like online classes that you had to do? What was the timetable like then?
So the online classes were so draining. At first it was okay, but then after a while it just gets so tiresome because you wake up and you're still in the room where you sleep, but now you have to do English or something like that. And then the homework, everything was just like really chaotic because it was just sudden out of nowhere. There was no preparation for it.
Okay.
So like our teachers would set us homework and we wouldn't even realize. Everything would just feel like so much work. It was just really tiresome.
I'm sure it was a lot of work for your teachers as well, because like I said, like in the pandemic, it just started all of a sudden and everything just got shut down. So it must have been, and I really did feel for the students, people who are going to like, secondary school, people who are going to go into college, to university, because it's a whole new thing, a whole new system just been put into place. So when you did your GCSE exams, you had to go in to the exam hall. Could you explain a bit about that, like your preparation towards the exam and how you actually felt during that time?
So around that time, we had come back to school, so we weren't having online lessons anymore, but it was still a bit on and off. So we would come in for a few lessons and we'd be free. And then around exam period, we had study leave. So I had a lot of time to prepare, to revise, do practice.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Dear viewers, we are now going to go on a short break. Stay tuned. See you in a bit.